Heroes Like Us is a series intended at sharing comic book characters from various backgrounds and identities. We won't always get everything right, so feel free to make amendments and corrections in the comments. They're always appreciated. What's not appreciated, however, is any form of hate speech or intolerance, so comments of that nature will be immediately deleted and those users blocked from this channel. This is a place of education and celebration. Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic. Welcome to Heroes Like Us, our series where we look at a certain identity and then talk about comic book characters that have that identity. Today we are doing our second video on Mexican characters. So we already did one. If you haven't seen it, the link is in the description below. Or we could just dive right into this because it's not a sequel. You don't need to know anything. So let's talk about some Mexican comic book characters. We're going to start with a character by the name of Victor Mancha from Marvel Comics. Now, Victor is an interesting case. There's a robot by the name of Ultron, which featured heavily in Avengers Age of Ultron. Ultron was defeated by the Avengers, and he was basically brought back by a woman by the name of Marianela Mancha. And she kind of scrapped parts for him and was able to help him rebuild. Throughout this time, they became close, and he realized that she was not able to have children. So he kind of made a deal with her, and he used some of her genetic material to create a son for her. Hence, Victor. So Victor basically kind of thinks he's a normal kid. He has all of these implanted memories. He thinks he's just normal, but Ultron is a bad guy. So there's some built-in safeguards that when he comes around superpowered people, he starts to kind of shoot off electricity and has these weapon systems that engage. He eventually is able to suppress those and joins a team known as the Runaways. Now the Runaways heard a prophecy that said Victor Mancha was going to grow up to become a supervillain by the name of Victorious. So they did everything in their power to help change his ways so that that future never happened. Now, Victor has a half-brother by the name of Vision, because Vision was also created by Ultron. So Victor lives with the Vision, who at this point has a family. But Victor accidentally overdoes it and kills one of Vision's kids. Now, Vision doesn't retaliate, but Vision's wife rips the artificial heart right out of Victor Mancha's chest. Now, you'd think he would be sad about dying, but he was actually fairly happy because he was never going to grow up to become the villain that he was supposed to become. Up next, we've got another Marvel character by the name of Massacre. Now, Massacre is a version of Deadpool. And when I say this, Deadpool visited Mexico and he went to a Catholic church and he gave his confession, and this confession was so traumatizing that the priest realized there is no good in this world and I must help to punish the wicked, basically. And so he created a suit similar to Deadpool. It looks just like Deadpool, except a little more raggedy, like everything doesn't quite fit. Things are stitched together weird. And he goes on this spree to right the wrongs of the world. He eventually ends up working with Deadpool in a group called Mercs for Money. But this group eventually disbanded when they realized that Deadpool wasn't giving them their fair share and he was skimming some money off the top. And so where Massacre has gone since then, no idea. Up next from DC Comics, we've got a character by the name of El Diablo. Now, El Diablo, there's a couple versions, and the pre-52 and new 52 versions are very different, but the basic gist is that he is able to control fire. So you may recognize him from the Suicide Squad movie where he was played by Jay Hernandez. The actual character of El Diablo in the comics isn't very fleshed out, and there's some inconsistencies. In pre-52 continuity, he was basically this kind of Ghost Rider character that sought vengeance and basically killed people that had done wrong. But in the new 52, he's a straight-up criminal, but ends up getting caught and then now serves with the Suicide Squad, hoping to redeem himself or get some sort of freedom. Up next from Marvel Comics, we've got a character by the name of Skin, Angelo Espinosa. Now, Skin wasn't around for a very long time, but the basic gist is he grew up in LA, kind of involved in some gang stuff, wanted to get out of that scenario, and so he eventually manifested these mutant abilities that gave him extra skin. It didn't do anything to his bone structure, but his skin became elastic, and he could use this to grab onto people, to protect himself, and it also made him very hard to hurt because his skin was so flexible. He served in the group Generation X for a time, and then later, after Generation X was disbanded, he was actually killed by a militant anti-mutant group that basically crucified him on the lawn of the Xavier mansion. So his stories were painfully cut short, but this is a character that had a rich story for the time he was with us. Up next from DC Comics, we've got the character by the name of Aztek. Now, a long time ago, the god Quetzalcoatl created a mask, and whoever wore this mask got all of these kind of supernatural abilities to fight crime. So this mask was passed from generation to generation, and one of its wearers was sent to the United States to stop crime in this city called Vanity City. This guy, Emilio, fell in love with a girl while he was there, and they ended up having a baby, but unfortunately that is against the rules. So a group of assassins was sent by this sect, and they killed Emilio and took the kid and raised the kid to replace him. So Aztek, the current one that we know now, his name is Uno, and he is the son of Emilio. So Aztek eventually came back to the United States and fought alongside the Justice League. He was a member of the Justice League for a time. His powers, it gave him flight, blasts. He was very durable, kind of a basic array of superhuman skills. The mask also allows him to recollect any memories of other people that have worn the masks, and so he has this sense of wisdom. And the mask also lets him see in X-ray. He can turn invisible. There's a lot of interesting little dynamics to this suit. But unfortunately, Aztek gave his life fighting this kind of end-of-the-world scenario that he was destined to do. That basically all of these people wearing the Aztek mask were destined to fight this big evil, and he gave his life to stop that evil from destroying the earth. So there you go. There are 5 more Mexican comic book characters. They're all relatively minor. A lot of them aren't with us anymore, but they have interesting stories, and that is the point of this series. If there are other Mexican comic book characters you want us to talk about, let me know in the comments. We'll likely do, a part 3, a part 4. There's a lot of other heroes that we haven't talked about. If you haven't watched the other Heroes Like Us series, go watch those other videos. There's like 20 something now. They're all super fascinating. And it's cool to learn about heroes that aren't like you. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Heroes Like Us.